And we are live. Welcome, everybody. It's March 24th. Uh, it's a Tuesday. It's Tuesday, March 24th. This is your daily sigh of relief. And I always buy time the way that I'm doing now because I'm trying to get all of the ducks in a row. It takes a collection of tech stack kerfuffles. I go from Zoom to Restream. Instagram requires its own special, whatever it is. We did it. All right. Thank you so much for joining. This is your daily sigh of relief. My name is Kasim. I read the news so you don't have to. If you're an entrepreneur trying to keep up with what actually matters, this is for you. We go live every single day. I tell you what I think is important in the world of entrepreneurship across markets, AI platforms, policy, business, preferably, hopefully, in about 15 minutes or less. And then we turn it over to the council. The council is a group of just rock star entrepreneurs that show up and we talk about life changing things. And hearts are won, minds are lost. So far, it's been amazing, really impactful. Let me dive into what I have and then we'll turn it over. If you want to join us live, by the way, go to dailysigh.ai, sign up for the free forever community. You'll find the Zoom link in the calendar and join us on Zoom. If you want the Daily Sigh sent directly to your inbox, you can go to dailysigh.ai. Our leading story from AI News. Salesforce halts engineering hires in automation pivot. This is not a typical hiring freeze. A tech giant is explicitly stating that automation is now capable of handling work previously reserved for entry-level engineers, effectively setting the playbook for human headcount on fire. This is an interesting stance for Salesforce in particular, because they've always been one of the gold standards from a hiring perspective. So we're going to see what this means as we move from AI resistance to AI replacement in one of the most important vocational categories that's existed in the 21st century. Sam Altman resigns as Helion Energy chair amid open AI deal talks. To be honest with you, I think that means that no matter what, that deal is done. This is from the rundown. Helion and OpenAI are discussing a deal for OpenAI to potentially secure 12.5% of the startup's electricity output. For entrepreneurs, this highlights that the future of AI is intrinsically tied to massive energy infrastructure, and that energy infrastructure doesn't exist, which is really interesting. The energy that we need does not exist. And the United States has been historically very anti-nuclear energy options. And we're not, from all, just outside looking in, it doesn't look like we're going to catch up on that. So time will tell what happens there. From the Silicon Republic, Alibaba International launches ASIO Work Agentic AI for SMEs. Y'all, this is really big, I think, for small businesses. Alibaba is evolving its B2B AI tools in a pre-configured team of agents that cover the entire business lifecycle with, quote, zero setup required. For small business owners, this lowers the barrier to entry for complex automation, effectively providing an immediate no-code task force. I am 100% going to play with this if and when it becomes available. I don't trust Alibaba any further than I can throw them. And this should be, no matter what, fun to play with, especially the agentic squads. From the entrepreneur, Elon Musk plans terafab chip factories in Texas. He's been teasing this for a while. These factories aim to double current U.S. chip production capacity, which, I mean, 0 times 2 is still 0. Business owners should prepare for a world where AI compute is near infinite and significantly cheaper. So says the entrepreneur. I don't know where they're gathering that. That feels like a massive overpromise. That's just not true. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. From the rundown, FCC bans new foreign-made routers over security concerns. This move effectively shuts the pipeline for new foreign hardware, particularly targeting Chinese brands, obviously, like TP-Link. If we can't use Chinese technology, we're not going to be able to use any technology. Entrepreneurs must reconfigure supply chains and IT infrastructure, rely on less overseas hardware. Okay, we'll see. From Google News, cybersecurity stocks rattle as AI displaces roles. TechCrunch says Little Bird raises $11 million for screen reading AI. This tool reads your screen in real time to automate tasks. Interesting. HubSpot. I love this. 58% of marketers see higher conversions from AI tools than referrals from organic search. This is proving the ROI of answer engine optimization. Please note, HubSpot is calling it AEO. I win. From Business Wire, Zeta Global launches Athena AI marketing agent. Interesting. None of the rest of this matters. Alphabet's Wing drones launch in South San Francisco Bay Area. I think that's it. All right. That's all the news. If you're watching this live and you want to join us, please go to dailysigh.ai and come join the council. Councilmen and women, let me turn on the ability for you to exist as real people. Welcome to Tuesday. It's a great day. I'm having a blast with it. I see Jason Croft, first camera shown, Brandon, Grant, Jim, Clinton, Christopher. Elliot's the last one to go live. Elliot, you lose. You lose the real person race. There you are. Who's got something? Anything on the news that's worthy of touching upon, or should we traverse to bigger and better topics? Elliot Dean, making up for his lateness by going
Exactly. There
first.
you go. You've made
Well
me feel
done.
bad now, so
Good
I
job.
have to say something. Um, on your headline of Mr. Musk and his incredible Willy Wonka chip factory, um, I have, there's a lot of variety of opinions on this. Um, this is obviously just me putting my hand up and saying as someone who's slightly involved in the industry, but I think there's a lot going on to a preparation of an IPO at the moment, right? And I think everybody should be aware of that. Um, if there is this cruel towards what could end up being the largest IPO ever, I think everyone should be very aware of that if they're considering to invest as well, of some massive claims being made right now from
Wasn't his
certain
plan to just
companies.
merge everything under one umbrella, though? I thought that was the tease.
I'm not sure, but there's definitely something going on there in terms of this giant building of proposed value.
Yeah.
So, I have definitively heard from very technically skilled guys I know that and quite frankly, common sense. But the key takeaway, I think, for everybody, if they're listening or in the call, is that just be very aware of a lot of this build up. I mean,
Mm.
I'm sure everybody is, but I'm sure it will end up being hugely valuable with the combination of and the because really what he's done, the true value of what he's done over everything is just constant integration, right?
Dude,
It's
what does he
integration
have
of
that's not public, though? I mean, Tesla's public now. Isn't SpaceX public?
no.
SpaceX is not public. So
No,
that's what you're
and
talking
he's
about IPOing.
yes, yeah, and
Okay.
merging that into XAI, which is what's gone on, and then IPOing.
So SpaceX plus XAI IPO together is an instant $1 trillion company.
Yeah, well, I think the number that's being floated is like 1.4.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's insane.
it's
That
just
just
a
shows
tiny
you
little
how far the dollar's
private
fallen.
enterprise. Yeah, tiny little
Yeah.
private enterprise. But of course, just thought I'd mention that because I have heard from people that have been in the space for decades that there's going to be some real problems with the scaling in space. But obviously, if there's anyone to do it, it's going to be him. So
Yeah. Well,
I
he's
just think
moving his
it's
target from
incredible,
Mars
right?
to the moon, right? That feels way more accessible.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a silly question? Who here thinks the moon landing happened? Can you raise can so Dylan says yes. Christopher, okay. So everybody but me, Grant, and Brendan. Oh, Grant's kind of a all right. Yeah. I appreciate y'all. I'm still on the fence, you guys. I
There's
don't
there's a whole Mythbusters episode where they go through all of the
and they nailed it.
yeah, every single time.
That's really helpful. Elliot, you said something that I think is worthy of repeating, which is if anybody is going to be able to pull anything off, it's going to be Elon. I love him. Yeah, this is so funny. I think I share the same amount of neuroticism as I bet everybody on this call because you wouldn't join this call unless you were at least mildly neurotic. And I had a moment that was so I don't know, dude, it was funny. I was just worried about life. I'm worried about like, the situation in the Middle East and prepping and potassium iodide and clean water in Arizona and just like everything that can go wrong with humanity. And I had this moment where I thought, well, at least we have Elon. Like he's our Batman. I love him so much. I think he's awesome. And I know everybody has things to poke at him about, and a lot of them are probably viable. And I just think he's an awesome person. Christopher, you had your hand up for a moment? No, not about the moon landing? Dylan, you've got your hand up?
Yeah, forgive me if Elliot has mentioned any of these things. I put a video in the chat that is on this topic that has a lot of great information. Um, on the sketchiness. So like normally you have to wait a year to get into the S&P 500, and Elon is trying to get them to put him into the S&P 500 right away. So immediately, everybody who's invested in index fund, which is everybody who's smart, has XAI stock. Also, he's rushing to do this because they believe the market cannot, out of the three, XAI, Anthropic, and OpenAI, they believe the market can only sustain two of them. And so he's rushing to um, get his done before Anthropic and OpenAI. It's only like 10%, I believe, that of shares that are being sold. Uh, he has said that like he really didn't want to go public. I believe that he's said he doesn't want because SpaceX's mission is inherently like long term, and the investors want a return now. So yeah, I have heard there's a lot of sketchiness with it.
What does that mean that the market can only sustain two of the three? Like there's more value in the AI tools than the market has liquidity?
That they're with the amount of money that's already been putting in, they're getting concerned about the return and when the return is going to be, and that they're pushing it further and further off and saying they need to burn more. Um, I'm paraphrasing this video that I watched a week or two ago, so I
Is
could
that
be
that's the one that you dropped just now?
yes.
Okay. I'm going to share that in the broader chat. And if you're watching this live, you should see that in just a moment. That's really interesting, dude. The thing about I see that your hands up, Chris Fogarty, in just a second. I want to just say something out loud, and I'd love to be challenged on this. The thing about the collapse of a dollar that I think is interesting, and maybe even to everybody's advantage, albeit there's some gruesome segue. It reminds me of the IRS tax law that allows for depreciation reset when somebody dies, which is like the greatest tax loophole in familial tax planning history, right? So like you own a piece of property, it's a $10 million piece of property, and you're taking depreciation or accelerated depreciation depending on the asset class, which means you're getting this tax benefit. It's how all these fools don't pay federal taxes. This is how Trump does it. This is how my buddy Justin Donald wrote or actually no, Brandon Turner wrote an ebook on it, and my buddy Justin I think has a course on it. But this is how everybody does it. And then when you die and leave the property to your kids, all of that tax benefit stays with you, but the property goes. So that's kind of the idea. If we change that framing just a little bit, we have all of these amazing companies that have been built with USD, right? Built, bought, and cultivated with USD, and they have USD debt, let's say, but USD, if it tanks, the company still exists and the output capabilities still exist regardless of the currency. So whatever comes in to replace USD, it can print more or less, right? Because the economies of scale and efficiency are near exponential. I think, and exponential is a dangerous word to use ever, but I think with AI it's safe. And so all of a sudden it was like we paid our R&D with the currency that we know we're going to burn to the ground, and then we used the tool to go make whatever's next. Does that feel like a cogent thesis? Would anybody fight me on that? Here's why I'm saying it. Because if you're not invested, Dylan said something that I really liked. I really appreciate it. He's like, smart people are in the S&P, in an index fund, right? Like just go buy a Vanguard, whatever. I don't disagree with you at all. Dude, I think like, I mean, there's 5 viable AI supercomputer tools. Like go buy all of those. If you have $500, go put $500 in all. You know what I mean? Like there's no reason not to do that because when one of them wins, I think the stock is going to outpace the exchange. Anyway, Christopher, your hand is up, sir. The floor is yours.
Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yep, we've got you. You sound a little light.
Uh, Old Mac, broken speakers, everything. I'm barely online. Um, I don't know if I want to talk about Elon. You praise the man? Read my email and then we'll get back to you because now I'm a little flustered by you saying that you love Elon. Just you got to know how kind of uh, uh, hypocritical that is, through all your teachings of being honest and ethical and and treasuring your customers, your clients, your employees overall, because you wouldn't be where you are without them. So Elon Musk is totally opposite of that. And anytime he is on track, it's manipulation.
Dude,
Read
well,
what I
first,
wrote. You know,
uh,
let me end on one thing. I did a deep dive into AI, and I'm only learning it. I'm dyslexic. Didn't know I was. PTSD. I'm so traumatized from my life that I'm not letting it stop me because I still want to learn. I'm learning more than I ever have in my entire life with this little Echo, and I mean, the little Alexa. And, but the point is, I did a deep dive with AI, and I liked the finally when it came back with the most simplest, elegant answer. And China, Russia, Elon, their AI is, to put it more elegantly, what the AI came back to me: trash in, trash out. If you're lying to it, it's going to lie back to you. If you're not letting the public or the people who are building the intelligent by using it, given the truth, then the truth isn't going to be given to it. So it becomes a vicious cycle of trash in, trash out, trash, lie, lie, lie. And Elon is lying through his teeth. That's how he got his wealth and power, to literally be look. Trump wouldn't have won except for the richest, most powerful man and people in the world. That's a fact. And that's why I'm so focused on cooperatives. And I'll end in that because I'm a little flustered. Like I said, I can't believe you love him. So, not to the point. I know that sometimes you kind of take um, artistic creative in your phrasing and stuff. So I'll let you elaborate when I shut up. But I'm so into cooperatives right now, and that's what I want to build because I want to give the power to the people, for the people, by the people, profit sharing with the people. And in fact, I do humbly believe that I have a couple of projects that could change. Number one, our immigration problems. Why has it not been solved by now? I won't go into the details, but I have a little middle America problem. Little middle America civilization. They want walls, build walls, but it's simply a gated community where they can be safe along the border and literally do their processing and not be in America at highest risk. Now, get back to the same. Cooperatives is the only ammunition we have globally against oligarchy and dictatorships. Now, I'm a humble believer that even though I'm a cooperative of one, I've really all been doing for the last 10 years is studying this since I was forced into early retirement by COVID. Parents died, bankruptcy. I mean, literally went through hell and out, but yet we still kept it together. And we've saved up a little bit. And now we have a better business plan than I ever had my whole 62 years of planning and striving towards it and making it and breaking it. I've lost and made my money over 6 times in my life. And it takes a hell of a long time to rebuild with a tiny little investment each time to reinvest and then lose it again. No fault of my own. Parents went bankrupt the first time. We won an Academy Award. Company went bankrupt before we even got to receive the award. And then the parent company, I just, so all I'm saying is that I truly believe in cooperatives, and you can't trust Elon Musk. Simple as that. You cannot. And back to their AI and Russia's AI and North Korea's AI, they're all working on it. We all know that. But the good thing about it, I think, and I'll close on this: trash in, trash out, which means it will never work effectively until you're literally being 1,000% honest with yourself and it, or else it's going to learn your lies. It's going to learn from you. And we will have that. I actually will end on the moonfall. Anybody seen that? It was about an AI. I go, oh my, this is, but it was kind of like another AI of what it potentially can do. And that I do believe Elon's AI, North Korea's AI, Russia's AI, those are the ones you're going to have to worry about because trash in, trash out. And so they only are going to now be like the person that's teaching them. You become what you said that. I've been studying you for months now on your videos. You said that. You surround yourself with good people, you duplicate it, you grow it, you enrich yourself from it. But if you surround yourself with yes sirs and people who are only self-serving and for money, 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 then you're going to get that. You teach that in how to hire good employees, honest, ethically. top tier one. That's why you pay them more. That's another thing I've learned from you. Pay them more than what the average is. They're worth it if they. You said it. The word the 5 times more productive than an average employee just by paying them 10% more. And my motto, I want to pay them 10 to 20% more, especially if they're worth that 5 times, because then they're going to get. And you're actually giving them an option to buy into a cooperative. No, cooperatives don't do this, and that's why you're the one that actually inspired this idea. Is that cooperatives? If you, I heard on the. God, I don't want to go on. I heard on the Start Co-op incubator that I've been in for the last 7 weeks, and they were teaching number one that came to mind again and again, the problem of getting good cooperative members that are going to stay with you, that can last the time. And one of the guys said that he has in
Christopher, if
their
you don't mind, can I give you another 120 seconds to wrap up? I don't want to be
okay, I'm sorry.
toxic,
I'll
but
close on this.
yes, sir.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. See, I didn't want to get started. I'll close on this. The problem with his hiring good employees, and they had an accountant that was a member that wasn't qualified. So you gave me the idea that, well, why not hire the people? They don't have to be a part of the cooperative, hire it. But if you're going to hire them, why not give them an up to 100% employee with 120-cent pay, and or put 10% of that into the cooperative, or 20%.
What is a cooperative?
Oh, cooperatives are simply put owned and operated by the employees. A cooperative is a democracy company. Cooperatives are literally 3% of American companies worldwide. Ace Hardware, Ben and Jerry's. There's a lot of American cooperatives, but America is so capitalistic, they've been running into the ground. Whereas England, Russia, Portugal, and I forget the South American countries. I thought you studied South America. South America has had a whole revolutionary outcome. They literally shut down their businesses because they were running into bankruptcy. The whole country was in a bunch of South American countries. And then they took over the companies and they started running them themselves. And within the last 10 years, they've turned around to a cooperative nation where 10% of their banks are cooperative banks, owned and operated by the employees. Their companies owned and operated by their employees that literally took them over and turned the government around. So I'm sorry, that's kind of why I'm so inspired by them to start a new company model of by that your teachings and my learnings over the last few years by preparing and preparing and preparing, over prepare. You know what it's like. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be so harsh.
No, there's no reason for you to apologize. I think it's actually really brave to voice an opinion that's in, what would you call it? It's thoughtful dissent.
Well, I don't want to overemphasize, but we're a Desert Storm veteran. We've been war. We've seen that. We've sent children. We've seen burnt bodies. We've sent you can't get it out of your mind after you've seen it. So I'm actually the World Peace Project. I mean, that's what this is, but this is the starting of it. I mean, I like that. Once I found out that I was dyslexic, and that was only 4 years ago. Wow, did that screw with my mind even more on top of everything else? But I turned it around like we always should. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger. My favorite quote in life is, "In all adversity lies opportunity."
Yeah.
Whatever
Well, it
really.
sounds like you've been through a lot, and it sounds like you're doing a lot. And I appreciate your insight and your input.
Sorry.
I well, no, I think just the it's not a counter, but what I'll offer in relation to me loving Elon, I don't agree with everything he does or most of what he does. I don't agree with uh maybe a blanket statement that he can't be trusted. I have a possibly naive belief in his desire for what might be the mitigation of human suffering.
By global conquering. He's like AI. I know better than you. So literally, I do as I say, not as I do.
No, I don't think that's what he's doing. What I love about what I love about Elon is he's done, and I'm quoting Jordan Peterson, who I also love. He's done 5 impossible things. Like he's actually accomplished extraordinarily, almost by literal definition, impossible things. I remember I was in college for 9 weeks. That didn't go well, but I remember in college I had a science teacher who sat there scoffing at the idea of an electric vehicle and waxed philosophical about how it was technically and scientifically impossible. And I
Election.
used to quote that. I remember just feeling so betrayed when they rolled one out because I was like, what the hell happened? I thought that this was scientifically impossible. And that used to
Election
be the
vehicle? I'm sorry. What is an
what?
election vehicle?
Electric vehicle.
Oh, electric vehicle. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Sorry.
So I don't know. I think the guy's accomplished something. He reminds me, have you all heard the speech, The Man in the Arena?
No.
That I think it's one of the most important things that I have read and reread as an entrepreneur on a recurring basis. And Elon reminds me of The Man in the Arena. I
Not to
think
be so extremist, but Hitler did a lot of really good things too, didn't he? His inventions, his progress, his cars. Look how
I
much of
don't
the
feel
stuff,
that's
technology.
not a fair comparison at
It is
all.
a fair because we didn't know how bad he was until it was too
Dude,
late to
Hitler
stop
was
him.
a fascist,
And now that we have,
genocidal
well, don't you
dictator.
think Trump is a fascist dictator?
I
Don't
can
you
you
think
help me?
Elon Musk is pulling the strings on a fascist dictator? Founded him. Look, Trump would not have won the election if it wouldn't been for Elon.
I'm not a Trump fan at all, and I actually I feel like that's something of a. I don't think there's a lot of intellectual integrity to that pivot. Um, so I'd like to maybe discontinue the conversation
Yes,
because
sir.
this doesn't
I
feel
understand. Sorry, I didn't mean to go.
productive in terms of,
That's why I wanted to keep it short. Sorry.
Let's go back to your man in the arena because I look at
yeah.
it every day.
Yes, sir.
Dude, I love that you have that on your wall. That's great.
Yeah.
All right, that was a maybe a more interesting departure than I'm used to. Any input on that from the rest of the council?
I see that they're very polarizing people, but yeah, you got to give a lot of respect where someone has made, I mean, he self lands rockets, has an
Dude,
arm that goes out there, catches it, digs tunnels. You're right. So, I mean,
which
I
again
try
is
not to
another
be,
thing that they said was
You
impossible,
can
you
say
know?
the
yeah.
same thing about Hitler. He had so much technology that we even still use today. That's not where we want a good person to be leading us.
Yeah, I mean, like you can look at the skeletons of a lot of people and say that, right? But like, you know, I'd rather take it back to some interesting aspects than to go, bleeding down the wrong aspect, right? I mean, we're never going to agree 100% with what how everybody chooses to live their life, you know. It's once you look into the closet. I sent to the council members, by the way, a pretty interesting document. Did you guys see it?
Is this in chat?
I sent it through school through a couple of you last night. It was I can send it in chat. How AI picks its sources on Substack. I'm gonna send it to everybody else.
Hold on,
Came
I'm
through
checking
late last
school.
night. It was a guy that did 21,000 citations of how to understand it, and he gave like the page length of what you need to kind of be at for it to be cited and where you need to front load the answers and the information
Mm,
in your article is really quite amazing.
dude, this is epic. So this is I've got a team that studies this. I have a team of 5 in Pakistan that's done nothing for the last 18 months but study how LLM source their citations. And what's really sad is halfway through our study, I figured out that we were actually climbing a ladder propped up against the wrong wall. But this really is amazing. I'm going to drop this in the group chat as well. If you're watching live and you want to join us in the Zoom, you can go to dailysigh.ai.
At the very end, there's like another document, and I kind of compare it to like its own version of EEAT,
Yeah.
right? Oh man, I put one of my pillar pages, and so it says like for financial services, which I write a lot about, 5 to 9,000 words is that sweet spot for you to be cited. And so I'm kind of in that 10,000 range, and it tells me cut it off. I put it through just like doing an eat rater, had it go through and it says you're 90% of the way there. Front load the first 20% of this of your document with these answers, told me how to write it and structure it, and a couple little pieces of editing. It's like then this piece is just going to fit exactly how it needs to go and
Wow.
trim a little bit here. And I mean it was like the PDF down at the bottom that it gets you to. Um, uh, I can share.
Dude, this is amazing.
There's a
30
checklist.
domains own 67% of citations in any topic.
Yeah, that was an
Holy
interesting
crap.
one.
85% of pages ChatGPT retrieved were never cited. That's not a surprise, but that's something that everybody should know.
Hmm.
What is a fan out query? It says 1/3 of cited pages came from fan out queries.
Basically, follow-up questions that go deeper on your one
Oh,
topic. It's
cool.
saying don't go one keyword per article. Go keyword and semantically relevant keywords where you're answering questions. So basically, make that pillar content all encompassing of those other kind of like people also ask questions that you would fan out and keep going deeper on. Add that level of depth to your article if you're going to want to be seen
Mm,
and cited. It's really
95%
good
of
for.
those had zero search volume. Dude, this is crazy.
I think it'd be really great for the AEO direction that you're going, right? But
Yeah.
21,000 sources to go through, that's a great study and white paper, basically. But the checklist at the bottom was that's the money. I put the whole article and the checklist in a project, let it use it as the reference, put my document in there. Grant shaking his head like he might have already done that too, but
Grant's already
yeah.
created a notebook LM.
Yeah. 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 It was stellar.
Yeah, this is so cool. Thanks for sharing this, man.
Yeah,
Uh,
100%.
the AEO piece is it's interesting because I've been optimizing with the theory that answer engine optimization is going to be for machine selection and human consumption. And I realize that that's wrong. In an agentic world, it's machine selection and then machine consumption and machine action. And the human participation is being pushed further and further and further and further down the assembly line. And in tons of instances, will actually never at all participate. Um, if you think about something as silly as making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, uh, I kind of assumed the machine goes and shops for bread and says, which of the loaves? And then you say, I want this loaf. And then it says, great. Now what peanut butter? And then you say this peanut butter and it says, great. And then it says, what jam? And you say, which jam? And it says, great. And that's what I thought a machine would do to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And as I'm watching agentic AI, I realize it's not it at all. You say, I want a PB&J, and it just hands you a PB&J, and it's chosen the bread and the peanut butter and the jelly. And that analogy cascades across, I mean, everything. And so what I think that changes, and the reason I like stuff like this is because we're writing for a consumption engine that we don't understand. And the data is really, really helpful to kind of point your muzzle. Jacob, I'm so sorry, dude. I just saw that you have your hand up. The floor is yours, dude.
No, sorry for joining from the car. I got called out. My girlfriend asked me to stop by the store real quick, but I have a really good question for you. Um, so with all the information that comes in today, and there is a ton of information that comes in, how do you sort through that information? And then how do you take that and find the good information you want and then turn it into an actionable item? Because I'm sure that it sounds like you go through a lot of information and then you share a lot of good stuff on here all the time. And I'm sure you have RSS feeds and stuff like that, but I'm wondering, how do you specifically figure out like, okay, this is good information and this is not? And I know that's kind of a broad question in a way, but I'm sure you have an answer for that.
No, it's not a broad question at all. I think it's to be honest with you, I think it's the question in, we're in the post-information age. My opinion is it's not good information unless I can action it, which is why I wanted to kind of police myself on these calls. Like, I don't want to talk too much theory and too much philosophy because it's like, all right, fine, great. What do we do? I'd love it if every single time we meet, everybody walks away with something to do. You've heard me talk about this if you've ever watched any of my videos. I kind of make fun of where we are from a pedagogical perspective because we've told everybody that learning is all you need to do. It's been promised since we were little. I remember being in elementary school and they're like, all you have to do is get a college degree and then you're going to be fine and successful and you get a good job and you get paid and everything's going to be fine. We have it's an epidemic of overeducation. So everybody loves to watch, learn, read, listen, download, take a course, listen to podcasts, watch YouTube videos, but nobody actions. Like I know it's a hyperbolic statement, but it feels true. As a matter of fact, if you were to measure the amount of information we take against the amount of action we take, adjusted for margin of error, it would be zero. it would be zero. Really think about that. Like 99% of the information we're exposed to results in zero action. So for me, it's not about staying up to date. That's why sometimes we'll hop on a call and everybody's like, you don't know that? And I'm like, dude, I try to stay as far away from information that I can't action. And
Yeah.
so my EA Vicente, who's just a freaking miracle, dude, he's amazing. He created this filter for me that's where the Daily Sigh comes from. It's like, what's actionable? What can I action? And then to a point that Dylan made recently, dude, I'm not the smartest guy on the planet by a billion miles, but I'll tell you the thing that I really pride myself on, and I think I might be, I'm definitely a top 1%er. Man, I move, I ship, I swing, I hit, I mean, pick your analogy. And God, has that been freaking powerful. So I think the information that's most effective is the information that can be actioned. Brandon, I think I interrupted you.
No, no.
Oh, I thought I saw you.
I was just saying 100% when it comes to like keep away the information that you're not going to take action on, right? Like I try not to get sucked into the news and politics. You know, my partner
Oh,
she'll watch that right and bring stuff to me, and I love her to death. I'm like, don't bring me that. I don't have room there for it. She's like, you only like the positive stuff. I'm like, no, I just have a lot of years on this earth, and it's like I've only got so much time left, right?
yeah.
And there's only so much that I can do. So I need to focus on where I know that I'm going to be able to move the needle. And getting sucked into the all, the news and the drama and the trauma of what goes on in the world, like I can't do it, right? And so I can only take in the information of where I know I can use that information because it does. Like 2022 hit, GPT hit for all of us, right? Live out there, and the world changed, and our minds are trying to keep up, and we're all trying to keep
Mm,
up, right? And it's on a completely different level. And if you were a marketing agency or an SEO or had websites out there, like you have to pivot and you have to stay on top of it. And so it's like not only am I in school every single day learning something new on a completely different level, but and still trying to take foundational basics and make those work and know that the foundation is still solid, right? Build the right solid foundation. But I've got to block out more information that comes to me than ever. And or you just get sucked in and you become just an information absorber and you don't move the needle and you go backwards.
yeah. Yeah. Which it's a temptation that I succumb to often. I go off the cliff all the time. It's like when I was trying to quit smoking. Like I just find myself with a pack of whatever it is. Like the RSS feed is just hooked up straight to me, and I have to like wean myself off. And Dylan, you got your hand up?
Yeah, as I'm trying to move faster because I am a have historically been very slow to move on things. I'm I'm dealing with not only too much information but also not enough information, and that with speed comes risk, and that's the reason in the past that I've moved slowly is that I want to try to gather as much information about this thing as possible,
Mm,
but when if you have an opportunity to be the first person making content about this thing, you can't wait for somebody else to tell you about it. Like you have to be on top of it. And so yeah, that's been a challenge with trying to move faster is dealing with the uncertainty of it as well.
I like what you just said is really, really poignant. With speed comes risk, and I think that's absolutely true. That's my advice to young entrepreneurs is manage your downside risk. Um, it's kind of like pregnancy and drug addiction. Like if you're just talking to a young person and it's like, dude, go out there and make every mistake you possibly can. Don't die, don't get anybody pregnant, don't get addicted to drugs. And after that, like all your downside risk is really kind of mitigated. And I think from a business perspective, we can sort of take that analogy and stretch it too. Like as long as you can manage your downside risk, I think all the risks are worth taking. And then for the few where the downside is not manageable, that's where I like to be like, all right, let me step cautiously and pioneers get slaughtered and settlers prosper. But what I like about the post AI world is it does feel like the downside risk is manageable. Um, if you got to be a little creative about it, but where it can be management, I think people should take every possible risk, and then where it can't, you're absolutely right. Uh,
Yeah, I think and what's fascinating, Dylan, this comes from somebody who I've been writing like I'm a recovering slow mover, right? I'm trying to do the exact same thing. And it's the hard part because the risk of taking action, moving fast is obvious and short term and in your face of what's possible. And the risk of not moving is greater.
Mm.
It's just way down there, right? It's way down. And it's you look up in 10 years and like, holy shit, man, well, I just screwed that up, for the last 10 years. And that's what makes that's that's why that fast action is net a positive, like just like you're talking about, Cosmo, of man,
Yeah, but
let me
you're
find out.
exactly
Let me
right.
get data.
It's not like from on an anthropological scale, fast acting anything dies, right? Like, I mean, the first bird out of the hole gets freaking nailed by whatever snake is coming for. Like fast acting, any being is the first one to just go. It's like off the cliff or off the whatever. So I think that our caution is well founded and it's 2 trillion years of evolution. And so, working our mammalian brains or our reptilian brains or whichever brain we're supposed to be talking about with this, I think that it's a hard reprogram. Um, and I'm sure there's a contrarian view that needs to be voiced against mine because I really do, I ship. Here's what I'll say. I've built 6 7-figure businesses. I've never gotten to 8 figures. I can't. Every time I have a business that gets close to 8 figures in revenue, like it's like driving a vehicle where the wheels start to shake and everything's going to blow up. And then I just sell them. So I think that like if you want to know how to build a 7-figure business, I'm pretty smart. I know how to do that stuff. But like if you want an 8 or 9 figure business, dude, it is absolutely beyond me. And I think it's the same paradigm. I think it's this like, this the way that I function gets me these quick wins, but they're not, I don't know what to do beyond that. It's almost like I'm really good at hitting little lottos. But then when it comes to building something that's like, massive or big or profound or whatever, it really has eluded me thus far. We'll see whether or not I'm able to turn that around.
Yeah, it's definitely got to be self-talk first because you've said I can't and it's eluded me, and you're like, I haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
So that's definitely like mentally preparing yourself for it because you've sold multiple 7-figure businesses, right?
Yeah.
I've not done that yet, right? I'm older than you are, and I'd like to see it happen. But then again, I've made people 7, 8, and 9 figures.
Dude, isn't that funny? I've done the same. Like I've gotten some of my clients. I mean, I was demonstrably the force behind a couple of the 8 approaching 9 figure business, but I
Yeah.
can't. The minute it's me or it's my business, there is something. There's like a limiting belief or a ceiling we set. I've noticed that with some of my employees, especially sales teams, dude. I had a real estate investment company for 7 years. And every single one of our sales, it was so funny. My business partner used to track this. Every single one of our sales guys had a mental number that when he hit, he stopped. And they were
Yeah.
all men. That's why I'm saying he. They all did it. And some of them were lower than others. A couple of the guys were like, dude, as soon as I'm at 10 grand, they were done. And some of them would be 20 and some, but as soon as they hit a number, they'd stop until the next month where they would zero out and they'd have to go grind again. And I feel like we all have that. Like everybody has this, as soon as I get to $1 million a year, I'm done. I don't need to do much more. And then the question is why? Like why not optimize beyond that, or what is it we're doing to ourselves? Clinton?
That I think is I think it's more pervasive than we're really aware of. People in general have a barometer for how much difficulty they want and are willing to deal with. Like they have their own barometer for comfort and challenge and things like that. And once they hit that, they'll adjust until that difficulty or that thirst for challenge comes up again.
Mm, yeah, it's like entrepreneurs setting fires so they can put them out themselves.
Mm.
Yeah, Tony Robbins used to talk about the internal I don't know if you guys like Tony Robbins. I love Tony Robbins.
Oh yeah.
He used to talk about the internal thermometer, and everybody has their own internal thermometer. And like, and it's a lot of things. It can be like with your relationships or with your finances or with your health. Like I'll let myself get 5 pounds overweight, but right when I hit 10, the thermometer kicks in and then I start working out or whatever it ends up being. And he used to say something, I'm going to paraphrase, but I think I'll get it right. He said it's impossible to fight your internal thermometer. The only thing you can do is reset your zero. So like you can't fight the thermometer as it's set because you've decided that this is high and this is low. the way to fix it is to reset the zero, reset your framing or your approach as to what's allowed, like what's the baseline. Um, I think that's good advice. Anyway, I'd be interested. Jacob had a really good question. I'd love to. I answered it, but I didn't open the floor, and I should have. How does everybody else like? How do y'all choose what you stay or what you pay attention to? How do you choose what information is important? Like, what are you doing? I'd love like specific actionable recommendations. What are y'all watching, listening to? How do you decide?
I mean, if it makes me money and makes me feel good, that's what I'm focused on.
So it's pretty good. You know what I mean? That's a good rubric.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Clinton?
I'm actually in a phase right now where I want to be more efficient about how I pick and choose what I listen to. And there was a time where YouTube just determined my news. But then it became, oh my God, there's so much news that's relevant to me. How do I deal with this more efficiently? So right now I'm like, how do I deal with this efficiently? Because my greatest time suck is watching the video right now.
So are you summarizing the videos?
I'm starting to do things like that actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I tell you what, first of all, I think it's absolutely brilliant. I do the same thing. And as a content creator, not that I have 2,500 subscribers, so I don't even think I count yet. But it just drives me insane to know people are doing that because I spend so much time with my freaking lights and my setup, and I turn my little smoky thing on because I think it looks cool in the background. And I just, like I really invest. And then everybody's like, "Oh yeah, I just had AI summarize your video," and I'm like, "Dude, why am I trying? Can't I just send you just sign up for my email list and then I'll send you the summary." What's up, Andrew? Is that a picture of Perry Belcher? Andrew, do you have Perry Belcher on your thumbnail? Because if so, you just became my best friend. What's up, buddy? Who else?
That's Perry.
Oh, what's up, buddy? Sorry, you unmuted. Tell me, is that Perry? Yeah, y'all, if you're watching this, you're not following Perry. There's no human on the planet that can escape to where the puck is going better than Perry Belcher. He's been relevant for 35 some odd years. He's called shit that he called the death of prompt engineering before anybody else. He called NVIDIA before anybody else that I knew. I remember me and Emma, who's our COO at Driven, we made a list of all the things that Perry called. It was long. I sat on stage and I recited the list. Um, Really, really, really sharp guy. And anyway, he's worth your attention. Andrew, thanks for being here, man. Appreciate you. Where do we go, y'all? We have about 15 minutes left. How do
I
we?
was watching
Oh, go ahead.
on YouTube. And I don't know if there's a time delay or what, but I decided to come into the Zoom because I wanted to comment on a couple of things.
Dude, I'm so glad you're here. Yeah, I would love to hear it.
So you talked about how do you filter the information? I mean, that's the biggest challenge that we're probably all in because we're all learning. We're hungry for the information. It's a matter of choosing sources and like the one guy said, the algorithm used to kind of show him what he was going to digest for the day. I think for me, there's just so much. Every time you open your YouTube, your email, any social media platform, you're being fed stuff. I think for me, it's whatever challenge I have for that day, whatever thing that needs my attention in my business on that day is the thing that I zone in on. So if I've got 20 videos on YouTube and one's about AI and one's about, a plane crash or whatever, but today I need to get the copy dialed in for a certain SKU, then I'm probably going to filter all of the stuff that isn't working towards that goal. I'll be seeking out the stuff that's towards that goal. And if there happens to be something within that scope that comes on my radar, I'll definitely consume it. So, I mean, that's kind of,
Dude, that's great advice. You know what I love about that is it forces a level of self-awareness from a productivity perspective that most people don't have. I have a framework in the school community. It's free to everybody. It's called the Big Three. And I think every entrepreneur needs to define their big three rocks, their big three risks, and their big three reaches. And to the point that Andrew just made, if you know what your rocks are, which I stole from Covey, it's just the boulder you're trying to push up the hill, not a goal. Goals are an end result. Rock is like the thing that you're trying to do. So you know your rocks, you know your risks. This is what could take my business out. And you know your reaches, which is if I had a wand and I could wave it in my business, this is what I would do. If you know those three things, then to Andrew's point, You kind of know what information to pursue. You know, like, okay, this pertains to my rocks, risks, and reaches, great. Or if it doesn't, then I'm going to go seek something out. So that's great input, dude. Thank you. Christine Marie,
Can I ask you a question?
I wish you would. Just so everybody knows, Christine Marie is the reason we're all here. I go live because she went live and I stole this from her. So she is the inspiration for the live, and she has an amazing live show. It's Christine Marie Knowing Show, which she's about to drop into chat. Yes, ma'am.
I thank you. I wanted to ask, Kasam, at the beginning of this year on New Year's Eve, you did the most amazing beginning of the year workshop. Did anybody attend that? I think I'll
Nobody loves me.
do that again. That was so good, and I think it could be interesting to do even just a quarterly check-in. But we're heading at, we're looking at the end of Q1.
Can I say something embarrassing?
Yeah,
I don't remember doing that.
it's okay. I remember for you.
What
It
was it? What
good.
was
You had us all in that moment create effectively our habit stacks for the year, literally in real time, block off our calendar to honor. It was containers of time. That
Oh, it was the containers thing. Yeah.
talk
Yeah.
about
I wish I stayed on top of that. I'm good at having babies. I'm not good at raising them. Thank you for that reminder. I need to go revisit it. Yeah, Andrew's like me too. That's the entrepreneurial. I don't know. That's the hard part. Um, cool. 8 minutes left. Who's got something life-changing? Jacob. I knew it would be you.
Yeah, so I'm actually just pulling up to the house now, so I can be a little bit more attentive here. So I had an idea. How I have that system with the 7 people that keep me in line for doing the active work. Maybe I could build a project and share it with you guys, and then y'all could test it and feedback. I'll help you help me type of thing. That somehow you could feed information into it, whether that be links, transcripts. I'm not sure yet. I can look into it more. That would essentially scan it and say this is applicable to you or not. I don't know if that's helpful or not. I'm just trying to create something that's actionable that would help.
But the what would you call it? Like the foundational prerequisite would be it understanding
Your context. It has to
Yeah.
have your context. So you'd have to have your context in there. It would be one prerequisite. And then once it has your context, you can feed it a piece of information. It would say, this is applicable to you, or this is not applicable, or this is applicable to you, but just not right now. You're not in that phase or step. It would kind of help you
Bro, do you
filter
know what
out.
you just did?
What's up?
Oh my God, dude, you're a genius. Okay, so you guys know we talked about Tiago Forte's second brain, right? Which is like you saving all the shit that you need. Jacob just invented the third brain. It's like the brain that exists above the brains that's like organizing all the information. Like you put all your RSS feeds through it, all your subscriptions through it, all your email newsletters through it. And it's like, no, 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 someday, yes. And it'll reference what information is applicable and when it's applicable and then time it and give it to you. Dude, that is freaking genius, man. I love that a lot. Oh God, that
Yeah,
could
so I
be,
appreciate
that's a
that.
big deal.
I'll try to build something like that in the next couple of days. So I can build it pretty fast and pretty easy. But there was one project I worked on to where I noticed like sometimes when I would go to the bathroom or just be piddling on my phone, I would have like these short form videos come up and they would have a ton of value and they were usually based around like SEO or AEO or something like that. I'm like, wow, I really want to know that, but I don't have time to do that right now. So I want to send a telegram to this project. Like I'll send it through N8N, which is the automation. And then it will automatically extract the transcript and pull all the information and have it ready for me later. Like it will store it in a bank. Problem is there with YouTube, it's no barrier. TikTok and Instagram requires a login or user authentication. So there was a big barrier there. So if you're doing YouTube shorts, it's no problem. But that also had me think about a minute ago too. The problem with long form YouTube videos now is that they have to keep you hooked for 7 to 10 minutes because they get paid from the viewership. And so there is value, but they usually hide it towards the latter of the video. Whereas I find more value in short form content because they're like, hey, let me give this to you really quick and then come over and watch the rest of my video so I can make some money off of you. So there is a lot of value in short form videos. But anyways, I will do that project and then share it with you guys. And then that way
could
we
I,
have
not
something
that you're
actionable.
taking orders, but can I add maybe an option to the wish list? So the thing that I've always I have this bad habit of finding a newsletter that I love and then subscribing to it and then getting overwhelmed and then unsubscribing. I think it'd be so cool if there was an opportunity to subscribe to things, but not me, like this engine you're talking about, so that the subscription filter sort of
Oh,
like,
yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it
Yeah, yeah,
happens above
absolutely.
me.
Right. Yeah, it goes into there, and then from there it sends out to your email or through SMS or through Telegram. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then if something happens in my life, like there's a catalytic moment where all of a sudden it goes, oh, a newsletter was sent 2 weeks ago that would actually be really applicable here, kind of like you're talking about those short form videos. Like if it had a database of, what had been captured, I don't know, dude, that's a really
I like
bright
that.
idea.
I'll work on that. I think yesterday, and I went back and watched where I talked, and I think I did too much philosophy. So I like the actionable stuff. So I'll keep it more to that. Yesterday, I left out a huge piece of context that's very applicable. Is that I have Alex Ramosi, Forte. I have all of them built into that engine, and they all have different jobs.
Mm.
And so they're the ones that, like, when I want something built, they build all of it for me. I have 20 different people with, I have like Hermosi, I have all 3 of his books, all the context loaded from that. I have every single one of his YouTube videos loaded for context, so it's extremely powerful. And Nate Herc, he explained how to make it efficient with the token usage. So if you want to watch one of his videos, I can't drop it right now because I'm on mobile. It's a 27-minute video about how to build an executive assistant with Claude Code. That video, he explains how to keep the token usage very efficient. And so I took all these people, and then I built this system now. So it's very, very, very powerful. It's just a little bit was mentioned earlier about you got to make sure that the truth comes in so the truth comes out type of thing. There's a lot of that going on and figuring out. But anyways, I will build something like that so we can have something actionable that we can use.
Bro, I'd love that. When you're ready, let me know and I'll tee you up
Yeah.
to present it. Yeah, I disagree with you about what you said yesterday. I didn't think that was too much philosophy at all. I actually really shared. I really enjoyed what you shared.
I appreciate that.
And
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, I took a lot away from it. That's the problem is you don't want to index towards action to a degree that becomes divorced of all context because then it's just tips and tricks and hacks.
Yeah.
There's no principles or best practices. So I thought that was great. I'm gonna wrap up, y'all. First of all, I appreciate everybody that shows up live. Thank you. Um, as always, if you're watching this, you can subscribe. You can go to dailyside.ai, get all these calls summarized and sent directly to your inbox, which Jacob is then going to help you filter now with his new tool. If you want to join us for the live calls, go to dailyside.ai and sign up for the Free Forever community. I think I want to shout out Christopher today. It's hard to disagree with people. And Christopher, I appreciate you bringing an alternative perspective, and I hope that my response was gracious, and I hope you'll continue to disagree because, as they say, if two people disagree, or if two people agree on everything, one of them is necessary. So I love thoughtful dissent and conscientious disagreement. I think I would like to avoid political conversations in the future, so I might do a better job at just managing that. And I want to get better, and I want to sharpen the saw, and I know I'm not right about everything. So I appreciate you being so open. And everybody else, love you, mean it. You guys are awesome. I'm going to see you tomorrow. I go live every single day at 6 p.m. Eastern. Would love for you to join us if you're watching. And to the rest of the world, happy Tuesday. Bye, guys.